are misfits, arrogant rebels. They scorned conventional wisdom, and each conceived a radical new vision of the cosmos. Galileo Galilei, Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, and Stephen Hawking have all had tumultuous lives, filled with great triumphs and humbling failures.
These are the people who would dare to challenge.
They often run into opposition, and they generally don't deal very well with that.
There was a kind of a demon within them that wouldn't let them do anything else.
It does take a strong ego to say, well, I can solve this. I can figure out some little piece of the universe.
Who were these brilliant rebels? And what secrets of their minds allowed them to think the unthinkable and reveal the beauty and strangeness of the universe? In 16th century Europe, life has a certainty that later generations can only envy. Everyone knows that the Earth is the center of the universe. But this reassuring vision is beginning to crack. And one of those who does the most to overturn it is a self-styled genius, Galileo Galilei.
Galileo, of course, was this cocky individual who had an attitude.
The sort of person who makes very close friends and who makes lots of enemies.
But he had a very sharp wit, a very sharp mind, and with that he was able to probe some of the deep mysteries of the universe.
This ambitious, overconfident scientist will remake the world, but pay a harsh price. Galileo is born in 1564 in Pisa, Italy. His father, a lute player, is well known for rejecting convention to create a new form of musical harmony. Galileo inherits his father's rebelliousness. At age 25, he becomes a professor of mathematics at the University of Pisa. But he'll grow scornful of his colleagues, who are still teaching the scientific theories of the Greek philosopher Aristotle, almost 2,000 years after his death.
We forget the fact that before Galileo, there really was no science as we know it. According to the Aristotelian philosophy, for example, objects moved and came to rest, not because of friction, but because they got tired. And objects fell to the ground, not because of gravity, but because they longed to be united with the earth.
To Galileo, such explanations seem absurd. These grand personages who set out to discover the great truth and never quite find it give me a pain, he later writes. They can't find it because they're always looking in the wrong place. Now, Galileo is about to shatter thousands of years of belief. His intuition tells him that objects move, not because of desires, but because of deep mathematical laws. And his unthinkable step is to find them through experiments, something few people have done before. He begins by studying falling bodies. Physicist Stephen Hawking.
Galileo pointed out that simple observations, like dropping weights from a height, show things do not work the way the ancient Greeks said. This must have been seen by many people, but they had put it down to imperfect observations.
For the first time ever, Galileo begins to work out basic laws of motion, such as how speed is determined by time and acceleration.
It was one of the geniuses of Galileo to slow down the acceleration of gravity. He got an inclined plane and had a ball roll down the plane, and then you could see with your own eyes the fact that an object speeded up as it went down. So he introduced the concept of acceleration.
To us, that seems so obvious and logical. That was a major mathematical breakthrough to understand motion in those terms.
For his role as the first experimenter, Albert Einstein will later call him the father of modern physics. Galileo has pioneered the path that Newton and Einstein will follow. The search for mathematical laws that lie behind all motion. But progress is slow. Only at the end of his life will they finally be published. At age 45, Galileo is still a poorly paid mathematician. But ambitiousness and arrogance will soon catapult him to fame and be his undoing. In 1609, Galileo hears rumors of a toy-like spyglass that makes distant objects appear near. Resolving to capitalize on it, he quickly learns to grind lenses. Within a few weeks, he arrives in Venice with a telescope he champions as his own invention. He impresses Venice's navy so much that officials double his salary.
Galileo did not bother to tell them that this was an instrument that was being exhibited and sold in many other places. There was considerable chagrin when they discovered that, in fact, this was not Galileo's unique invention. Well, what can you say? He was obviously being a good businessman there.
To the free-thinking Galileo, the telescope also offers an opportunity to ask questions few others dare. 60 years earlier, the astronomer Copernicus proposed the radical idea that the Earth revolves around the Sun. But Copernicus had little evidence for his theory, and it contradicts passages in the Bible. In the time of the Inquisition, such speculation treads close to heresy. But Galileo is unfazed. He is the first astronomer to train a telescope on the heavens. And he sees the universe as never before.
He was thrilled by the fact that this telescope is opening whole worlds. He draws pictures and diagrams, and he couldn't draw fast enough.
Galileo works feverishly night after night, and he makes a startling find. He discovers 4 moons orbiting Jupiter. Galileo's evidence that not all objects orbit the Earth lends strong support to the theory that the Earth itself could revolve around the Sun. But contradicting the Bible is theology.